Have a new addition to the reactions. Ralph is not here, the teddy bear, so but don't worry about that. We'll bring him next time. But we actually have a new addition. So you see this, guys? You see this? This is ELMO, as you all know. So if this video is asked, which it probably is, because let's be real, the video we're reacting to today is Rock Lee is Naruto's biggest failure, useless shinobi. That is cap. That is absolutely cap and fucking. That right there alone. Right there. Ass. We flush that shit down. Ass. Okay? Okay, this is already fucking trash, okay? You know how we already do like the pass or trash and our reactions and so on and so forth. That's how I feel right now, okay? That's how I feel with this shit. So, we you know, unfortunately, we would normally save ELMO, the toilet ELMO, for later at the end of the video, whether or not if it's a pass or trash. And if it was a trash, then, you know, we showed the toilet, we flushed. But already, it's fucking trash. So, we're going to get into this. It's a little bit lengthy, about 25 minutes, not that bad. But we're going to check it out. We're going to see what the fuck all this is about. And that's what we're going to do. You know, so let's get it. Get into the video, let's get it. NCHAMMER, by the way, if you guys don't know him, you should know him. It's one of the bigger Naruto content creators out there.
It's a trope we're all very familiar with. You get introduced to a character who's either really interesting, has a cool backstory, or could be insanely powerful. However, because of plot necessity or them dying off, that character's potential to be interesting or powerful is wasted. And every single anime worth watching has this kind of situation happen more than once. Chad in Bleach, Vanessa in Black Clover, Rock Lee in Naruto. See, Naruto is a fantastic anime and manga in many respects. However, there is definitely some not so perfect aspects to it. And unfortunately, one of those biggest aspects is wasted potential. See, throughout
the lever. Alright, and we're gonna get shit going. Let's get it.
Numerous characters live up to the maximum, even beyond the maximum.
So if I'm just gonna say this real quick, first pause of the video already. If he's saying that Rock Lee was wasted potential, that's not a bad take. I would agree to that to an extent, because I think they did a great job with him in part 1, and then in Shippuden, it was filler arcs and movies that they showed him a good amount, and they did a great job with it. You know what I mean? Like, so like it wasn't horrible. Like, if you watch the fillers in the movies, the side characters get plenty of feats and screen time. You know what I mean? Now, again, I know people will always be pulled the, oh, it's not canon, or, you know, or it's not part of the main story, so therefore, you know, it doesn't matter, or we can't really, and that's not necessarily true. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's still Naruto itself. It's still part of the anime adaptation. You know what I mean? Kishimoto is supervising the work, going over everything, etc., etc. Like, unless you have, like, a ridiculous and an incredible amount of evidence to even substantiate that the fillers are, like, you know, are just clearly not canon, whether if it's stated by the author or this or that, etc., right? You know what I mean? You can't really just flat out say, oh, it's just non-canon, you can't use it. No, I think it's completely reasonable and completely understandable and okay and logical to consider it as a source of evidence. Now, to say that it's hands down absolutely, you know, what you can, you know, you have at the end of the day, that's a whole other thing. But to at least consider it for a sense amount of evidence, or just to put it into consideration, especially when we only have a limited amount of, you know, stuff anyways, you know, from what we've seen throughout the main story with the side characters, I don't see it really as a problem at all inherently. So at the end of the day, if we're counting everything as a whole, then technically I would disagree. That I think they still did at least a good enough job at the end of the day. But what people always forget is it's a fucking side character. It's a side character, right? You know what I mean? Like, there's only so much you can do with the fucking side characters, you know? Like, and we obviously know what all the fan favorite side characters were, like Kakashi, Itachi, Minato, the list goes on and on, right? Like, unfortunately, Lee was not part of that, you know, very extremely popularity group. Like, the guy could not use ninjutsu, and he could only do taijutsu, and he specialized in taijutsu, and with taijutsu alone, he was a genius, and he was a badass. That's all he could do. Similar to Guy, you know what I mean? And not even Guy is in the most popular, like, character selection. You know what I mean? But yet, they're still badasses, and the writing was still good, etc., the whole nine, right? You know, so, like, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he was useless. I definitely don't think he was Naruto's biggest failure, and I don't think he was wasted potential, you know, I really don't. Like, you could say maybe to a degree, but like to really advocate that it was really that bad, like no. Like, if anything, a perfect example of wasted potential would be Sakumo Hatake, Kakashi's father. Especially because of the war arc with the whole Edo Tensei shit going on, they could have easily brought him back and that would have been fucking insane, right? I mean, that would have been crazy. Or we could have easily got a fucking one-shot manga with him at some point. Or we could have got even more story, at least with the anime. It may not be in the manga, but it's in the anime, right? And show the character and like, or flashbacks, whatever, etc. Right? You know, there was many ways that is actually wasted potential. Someone that didn't have fucking shit in only like a couple statements, 1 or 2 statements. You know what I mean? For scaling, you know. So I think there's actual examples of wasted potential in Naruto. I think there's a good amount. You know what I mean? And Rock Lee's definitely not one of them. We got a lot of screen time with this dude, you know? So, again, and as a whole, I would disagree. To a certain degree, sure. But if we're counting everything, I disagree.
We saw Kakashi go from the cool kickback Jonin to one of the strongest people in the universe with DMS Kakashi. We saw Naruto go from some young orphan to a literal god slayer. Sasuke from a misunderstood child of a murdered clan to, well, a god slayer. Even Sakura, who went into the Chunin exams knowing how to use the clone jutsu and throw kunai, became a god slayer, on top of probably becoming the greatest medical ninja in the world. But for every character in Naruto that we saw live up to their potential, there were 2 to 3 characters who we didn't get to see live up to their potential. And there is no group where those characters didn't live up to their potential that's more felt than the Konoha 13. See, while some members of the Konoha 13 grew into incredible ninjas who are doing tons of good work for Konoha, like Sai and Ino, kind of a power couple, there are other ninjas who had significantly more potential than either Sai or Ino, who are now doing even less than them. But the problem with these characters reaching their potential didn't start with Boruto. No, it started long before Boruto. In fact, it started before Shippuden. Because if we're genuinely gonna sit down and talk about characters who never reached their full potential, there's really only 2 that are worth mentioning. Those would be Neji and Rock Lee. Today, we're gonna be talking about Rock Lee. See, the problem with both of these characters is that they were both technically supposed to die during the Sasuke retrieval. Neji was supposed to die from the wounds inflicted by Spider-Mouth Guy, and Rock Lee was either supposed to die in his battle against Gaara or Kimimaru. However, Kishimoto's editors talked him out of doing this because both Rock Lee and Neji were popular with international audiences, and therefore killing off Neji and or Rock Lee that early in the manga would have deterred international readers from keeping up with Naruto. But because both Rock Lee and Neji were supposed to die in the early days of Naruto, Kishimoto had no plan for them. There was no storyboarding them into Shippuden. They were supposed to be gone long ago. Because of this, both of them get placed on the back burner and hard. And while obviously Neji's wasted potential is a travesty, I take Rock Lee's a lot more personally, which is why today we're talking about how Rock Lee was
So I'll say this, like, that's always interesting to me because that's actually a legit thing. He's not lying on that. When it came to Kishimoto's initial original plans with these characters, they were actually supposed to die. You know what I mean? And it's crazy that he chose Rock Lee and Neji to fucking die instead of fucking like Choji, you know what I mean? Or like, you know what I mean? Like, or somebody that at least, you know, we would all be kind of cool with, right? You know, like, I'm sorry, let's be real. Nobody gives a fuck about Choji, you know what I mean? But like, come on, Rock Lee and that's fucking crazy. I mean, that's insane. Really, really glad they did the talk no jutsu to Kishimoto and got him to not do that because that would have been actual wasted potential. You know what I mean? So again, like him already just bringing that up is kind of already contradicting the directive he's trying to go in the route he's trying to paint. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, but they did a good job of Lee, bro. What you mean?
Before we get to talking about wasting anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And if you don't want my effort to go to waste, guys, then go ahead and follow my other YouTube channel, The Weeb Commander, where instead of talking about Naruto and Boruto, I talk about any other anime. And if you love the idea of me talking about other anime, you're gonna love my anime podcast called Otaku's Anonymous that I do with Danny Mondo, where me and him break down everything that happened in anime this week. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, and potential, but those with the capability of being great are expected to become great. Those who aren't deemed to have any potential in the first place but still become great are true Zero to Hero stories. And Zero to Hero stories is exactly what Naruto is all about. Naruto at its core is a story about those with no potential overcoming the limits imposed upon them by those around them. And while obviously Naruto is the best example of this, being a scruffy orphan abandoned as a baby with no parents to raise him, no real ability, and the only true thing to his name being a curse that lives inside of him in the form of a demon fox. And the story of how that child with everything going against times and began to lead them.
Of course, all this fucking music, you guys can hear me. What I said before is, I'm not gonna lie, NCHAMMER likes to like fucking, he's a yapper. He's a fucking yapper. I mean, I'm probably gonna have to edit out all the yapping points in the video because there'd be just points where he's just fucking talking about shit and he doesn't have to even talk about it. He can just get straight to the point. You know what I mean? And again, why are we talking about Naruto?
Now, say what you will about Naruto's potential as a child. Many people, myself included, say that while Naruto in the beginning of Naruto was deemed to have no potential because the only thing he had going for him was Kurama, but down the line, the whole narrative storyline of having no potential is absolutely destroyed by the fact that his parents were two of the strongest ninjas in the history of Konoha. He's a reincarnation of God, and Kurama is stronger than all of the other tailed beasts combined. If you ask me, the only thing Naruto had as a child was potential.
Okay, no, I disagree with that. None of that fucking matters. None of that matters. And you want to know why? Because at the end of the day, Naruto could have easily made the decision to not be a fucking ninja and just been some normal ass fucking civilian. And it doesn't matter of him being the reincarnate of Ashura. It doesn't matter of his parents being fucking Minato Kushina. None of that would fucking matter. The only reason why he even became relevant remotely in the ninja category was because he wanted to be Hokage, and that was because of him being sealed with the Nine Tails. And that's another thing too. If the Nine Tails wasn't even given with him, for all we know, you know what I mean? Like, who knows what he would have wanted to do at that point. He had all the incentive in the world to be a ninja, whatever, or to be the Hokage because he wanted people to acknowledge his existence, to respect him, and to, like, feel love and feel all the things that everyone else gets to experience that he just fucking couldn't. You know what I mean? So, like, I disagree with that. We don't know what Naruto would have even done if he was under normal circumstances. All because he was the reincarnation of Ashura, and along with other variables, doesn't mean inherently all that he was already set for potential, right? Or he was deemed to just be that guy. Because it's shown to the contrary. Like, if you actually watch Naruto and actually read the manga, okay, like, this motherfucker was a loser. He was garbage. His chakra control was ass. He had the most ridiculous chakra reserves, even his own, even excluding the Nine Tails, his own alone, okay, to where he could be the strongest ninja, whatever, because of how stupid he was, and how trash his chakra control was, that's why he was the weakest. You know what I mean? So, like, at the end of the day, like, it was always established and initially emphasized that he was ass. And he had to work his ass off, okay, and train with the best of the best. Kakashi, Jiraiya, Asani, the list goes on, right? Like, if all these things didn't happen, he would have been fucking ass. If he didn't train with Kakashi, ass. If he didn't train with fucking Jiraiya, ass. You know what I mean? Like imagine if his sensei was Asuma or Kurenai or just other, like, you know, situations, right? You know? Or imagine, better yet, if Jiraiya never even took him as a fucking student. The scaling would have been tremendously different and went a whole other fucking route. You know, like, at the end of the day, like, I can't stand people bringing up that, like, because he had goated parents as a ninja, that therefore now he's just that guy. Like, it's such a... I don't agree with that whatsoever. Whoever your fucking parents are doesn't necessarily fucking dictate what your life is going to be. You know what I mean? Like, at least for anime, fictional speaking wise, right? You know, so, like, it's just really stupid. And then not only that, it's literally stated verbatim in towards the war arc where fucking Hagiromo, okay, himself was literally dead ass, like, it doesn't matter what your genetics are, parent, whatever, blah, blah, yada, yada, yada. You could completely just not be a whole other fucking thing, you know, at the end of the goddamn day, right? You know? So, like, there's that too. You know, so, like, again, like it's just, no, it just doesn't work. If you were actually trying to argue that and debate it, you're arguing the losing stance is what I'm getting at. There's contrary evidence, and when you really, really analyze Naruto as a whole, he had everything against him. It was the opposite. And he turned those odds the whole other way around, and he truly got what he wanted because he put in the work for it. You know what I mean? So, like, that's just what you got. You know, at the end of the day, Naruto was the reason there was even potential to begin with. That's all I'm saying. You can't argue that because just his parents and being the reincarnation, all that shit, you know, in the Nine Tails, that therefore, oh, he already had potential. Like, no, it's not. Unless the only way that would be the case is if Naruto deemed it necessary, and that only happened because of certain circumstances, you know. So again, like, people just remove a lot of context as a whole and don't really hyper focus on the whys and the reasons, etc. You know.
But this video isn't about Naruto. This video is about somebody who...
I said that. Why we talk about him?
To this day in Boruto represents somebody who was born with nothing, trying to achieve everything. But the everything that this person achieved was much less than the everything that Naruto achieved. Even though one could argue that his children, these two children, Naruto and Rock Lee, had the same amount of potential, which is 0. See, from the very beginning of Naruto, Rock Lee and Naruto have been two sides of the same coin. People tend to say that Sasuke and Naruto are two sides of the same coin, and to a degree they are. However, Naruto and Sasuke are two sides of the same coin when you talk about emotional situation, as they both lost everyone near and dear to them, but they both approached that life event very different. With Sasuke replacing the love he didn't get from his family with hatred, and Naruto replacing it with hope. But as it pertains to potential, even though Naruto and Sasuke are eventually revealed to be Indra and Ashura's reincarnations, to say in the early days of Naruto that they're two sides of the same coin is a stretch. As Sasuke was a born genius, but Naruto had to work hard for everything he got. Every inch and ounce of power he achieved, he had to sweat for. Now, this isn't to say that Sasuke didn't work hard for the power that he got. We all saw his fireball training montage. But there was supposed to be a dichotomy between these two in the early days of Naruto. However, that dichotomy was slowly being erased by Naruto's hard work. But once again, we're not talking about Naruto and Sasuke here. See, Rock Lee and Naruto were raised in a very similar situation. However, their potential to achieve greatness being rated at 0 were rated off different scales. Naruto's potential being...
Real quick, I'm not gonna lie though, like, NCHAMMER does have a weird fixation on Rock Lee. Like, remind you, like, I love Rock Lee, right? I think he's a fucking goated character. I think he's incredible. But the obsession is a little weird that NCHAMMER has on him. Like, not even I am, like, that fixated on him. Like, I'll be the first one to advocate for Rock Lee in the positive regards that he deserves. But I'm not going to be sitting here, like, just like, oh my god, Rock Lee should have been the main character, or this and that, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm sorry, but NCHAMMER be tripping on that.
Rated at 0 was overcome that exact obstacle at the highest level, so one day he could lead those same people who hated him personally. Rock Lee is in the exact same situation. See, Rock Lee's goals weren't nearly as lofty as Naruto's. Rock Lee never even once wanted to become Hokage. Rock Lee simply wanted to become a powerful ninja who could protect those he cared about. And while that goal isn't nearly as lofty as becoming the Hokage, it was important to Rock Lee. And just like with Naruto, the achievement of this goal flies directly in the face of all of the criticism.
Unless I didn't hear him correctly, all I will say is Rock Lee's main initiative of why he wanted to become a ninja was to prove everyone wrong that he could become a very formidable and powerful ninja with no ninjutsu or genjutsu and just with taijutsu. And that he wanted to protect his ninja way and show that he could be a remarkable ninja, right? You know what I mean? And that hard work can beat talent. That was the whole prerogative of Rock Lee, you know what I mean? And then, obviously, in collaboration, you know, the whole theme of, you know, protecting people he loves too. But that was more of his personality and, like, his in-character trait. That wasn't his main derivative, like, of why he was doing what he was. So if that's what NCHAMMER said before, that's wrong. But if I just heard him incorrectly, then whatever.
He had received. Like we've already touched on, Rock Lee wasn't hated for personal reasons. He was hated because he was trying to achieve anything. And in that moment, one of the key points of Naruto was cemented. As Naruto uppercut Neji into oblivion, we realized that Naruto, with the power of hard work and believing in himself, could achieve anything. But was that Naruto's moment to shine? Like we've already stated, the battle between hard work and genius was supposed to be between Neji and Rock Lee. So Naruto knocking out Neji and teaching him a lesson is kind of like Rock Lee knocking out Sasuke. But I know what you're gonna say,
Nick. That kind of happened.
And it did kind of happen. See, we all know that Rock Lee battled against Sasuke and was so fast that Sasuke's Sharingan couldn't keep up. And if we're being entirely real, Rock Lee was dog.
That's not... He needs to do better with his words, because that's not true. Sasuke's Sharingan could keep up and could actually perceive everything Rock Lee was doing. It was his body that couldn't keep up. It was the complete opposite. So that's not correct. Anyways... Other than that, at least with the whole Neji thing, whatever, all that's fine. Like, I don't really care that much. At the end of the day, like, I'm just gonna say this: Naruto would have never got to the point with Neji that he got to if it wasn't for Kurama, though. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for Kurama, then he would have been cooked. But in Naruto's defense, he did have an incomplete mastery control of Kuruma's chakra at that point, and that was because of the training he did with Jiraiya, and that you have to give Naruto at the end of the day, because he trained and figured out how to manipulate the Nine Tails chakra that Jiraiya was even teaching him to do to begin with, right? You know, so technically it is a W for Naruto, but technically not if he didn't have the Nine Tails, you know what I mean? But again, you know, if you guys like understand what I'm getting at, it wasn't like, oh, just, you know, Naruto lost and then the Nine Tails came out and saved the day, right? Like, no, like he only got the W because he actually trained and was using a incomplete mastery of the chakra. Even Hiruzen was like, when did he master the use of using the Nine Tails chakra like that, you know? So it is a W. I mean, like, there's a difference between him releasing it, like, against Haku, you know what I mean, and then to what he did against Neji, right? It was literally just the chakra cloak, too. Like, his features, everything was all still the same. You know what I mean? He just got the Nine Tails chakra, put it on his body, and just amplified his stats, you know? So, there you go. But, so, like, at the end of the day, like, you know, it's a very complex concept to fight. I think what he was kind of getting towards that whole thing was the whole point of whether or not, if you know, if does hard work truly beat talent, or also, like, can you really change your fate and all that, because that was a whole other big fucking debate topics that used to go on all the time in Naruto, in between content creators, etc. It's interesting. There's a lot of contentiousness around it, but yeah, other than that, you know, that's whatever. And so far, like, I'll give NCHAMMER his props all day, every day. When it comes to, like, general knowledge or just, like, lore aspects and things like that, he does a great job, right? You know what I mean? But when it comes to the debate aspects, or better yet, when it even just comes to details in Naruto, he could be wrong or completely not be correct. And it's like, bro, like, you literally get paid a living to do anime and all this shit. Yeah, how are you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, I'll never understand that to this day. How you could be one of the biggest content creators for one of the most popular animes or mangas out there, yet you could be incompetent, like, on the most, like, definitive, concrete, easiest things to even understand. Like, it's one thing if it's something contentious, right, where it's just either blatantly subjective or yada yada yada, right, and that's fine. But it's a whole other when literally it's stated verbatim multiple times and even shown by feats of why Sasuke was losing the fight, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, how do you get that wrong? So,
Fucking Sasuke.
Anyways.
He kicks him in the face 3 times. However, just as Rock Lee is about to release his Hidden Lotus and spin Sasuke into the ground, Might Guy's Turtle Summon shows up out of nowhere and somehow, with no fingers, throws a pin that pins Rock Lee to the wall. So Naruto gets to knock out Neji, but Rock Lee doesn't get to knock out Sasuke. Now listen, obviously, of course, the drive home message here is that Rock Lee probably could have beaten Sasuke in a fight. But if we're gonna have a crossover event here between Naruto and Sasuke...
Not probably he would have. Not probably. He would have. Again, what are we saying?
Sasuke and Neji and Rock Lee, we're gonna have Naruto knock out Rock Lee's essentially bully. Why not have it go the other way? Why not definitively hammer home the concept that hard work is able to overcome genius? There's a million ways that Rock Lee could have hidden Lotus Sasuke into the ground without...
Bro, it doesn't really matter, though. They did it with Naruto. You know what I mean? Like, they did it with Naruto. And then, not only that, like, I don't even know what he's getting on about, because Lee technically did it, too. Like, he said it himself. He was beating the fuck out of Sasuke. So, you know what I mean? Like, and Sasuke's a genius, has the Sharingan, the whole nine, etc. Like, Lee would technically did it anyways. You know what I mean? Like, and better yet, Rock Lee literally was fighting Kimaru, Bone Man, bro. Like, and nobody could do that. Base Naruto couldn't do that, which literally scales to fucking Sasuke in the retrieval arc and shit. You know what I mean? Like, Rock Lee been surpassing fucking badasses and geniuses and shit. But, like, Guy alone literally said the third gate for Lee to use was how he could beat Neji. Lee even surpassed Neji with the gates. Like, I know what we're talking about here. I don't know what he's getting at, but Lee did it plenty of times. So I don't understand, like, what we're, like, if he's just nitpicking and complaining about it, like, not being fully, like, you know, expanded upon and, like, or really, really shown, like, to a tremendous degree, like, okay, and, like, who cares? The fight stopped, whatever, blah, blah, that's it, right? You know, but Lee, like, there's tons and tons of evidence to show and indicate that Lee did surpass geniuses with hard work. He surpassed Neji. He surpassed fucking Sasuke at this point in time. He was even above Sasuke, and even in the retrieval arc when he's stronger and shit. Like, I don't know what we're on about. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Sasuke dying. Stopping the battle short cuts the narrative short. Now, am I just saying this because I wanted to see Sasuke get pile driven into the ground? No. I'm saying this because it's a
That's what it sounds like. I'm just saying, that's what it literally sounds like.
consistent theme for Rock Lee throughout Naruto. See, Naruto would go on to achieve exactly what he set his mind on. Naruto decided one day he wanted to become Hokage, and you know what? He achieved that. And Rock Lee wanted to show the entire world without the power of ninjutsu or genjutsu that he was one of the strongest ninjas on Earth, and more than anything, use that strength to protect those who were important to him. And did Rock Lee—
But he does. He does that. That theme is shown. What are you talking about? It's stated, it's shown, feats, etc. And better yet, like, it may not be Lee doing, like, the final, like, pinnacle, like, fucking expectation to solidify, like, his goal and dream, but Naruto technically does it for him, right? You know what I mean? And then Guy, who's literally Lee, but just an older version, right? He does it. He's the 8th gate and was the strongest motherfucker in ninja out of everybody. The only one that could fight Jubi Madara. You know what I mean? So, like, at the end of the day, the core principles and values that were, like, are within Lee, you know what I mean? And so on and so whatever, blah, blah, are, like, being shown with others that technically correlate to Lee. Like, the only difference is just not Lee doing that particular feat, right? You know, like, so, like, if that's what he's bitching about and complaining, like, who cares? It's just the writing. It's the writing, and it's just, unfortunately, just the convenience of the writing and just how everything was and so on and so forth. Like, boo-hoo that we don't get to see Rock Lee use the 8th gate. If Rock Lee used the 8th gate, he would have been the fucking strong. He would have been stronger than so many motherfuckers, right? You know, like, who cares, bro? At the end of the day, we all got the fucking, I won't say all, but a majority of people got the memo and the message that Rock Lee was a badass, and he was that guy, and that was just with Taijutsu alone. That was blatantly emphasized, and we got that theme plenty enough, okay, and he has plenty of W's, bro. Again, Kamaru feats, you know, against that crazy strong motherfucker. A guy that literally fought thousands of Kyuubi Naruto, right? You know, thousands, bro, and didn't get touched once. Okay, and we know what Kyuubi Naruto's capable of. We've seen him in against Sasuke, etc., right? And Rock Lee's over here, not even at full capacity and power. He's technically just came from surgery, nerfed, it's stated, etc., shown, whatever. And in base, weightless, he's performing better than Kyuubi Naruto. And everybody, base Naruto. You know what I mean? Like, which correlates to Sasuke, etc., the whole night. Like, we have tons of things, bro. We even have the preliminary stuff where we get to see with him how fucking crazy powerful he was and shit, you know, and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, to where Gar was calling him, like, and even saying, is he even human? Like, his movements are inhuman. He doesn't say that about anybody else but Rock Lee. You know, like bro, with Taijutsu alone, Rock Lee could have defeated Gaara if it wasn't for certain variables. Like, at the end of the day, like, Rock Lee got plenty of emphasis to show that he accomplished what he wanted, right? It was shown a lot, okay? You know what I mean? Like, he's just being nitpicky. That's all he's doing right now. He's just butthurt and getting nitpicky and mad because we don't get to see fucking, you know, like, the full, like, conclusion aspect of it, right? You know what I mean? Or Rock Lee using the 8th gate instead of Guy, or Rock Lee beating Neji, you know what I mean? Or beating fucking Sasuke, like fully and legitimately instead of Naruto. Like, boo fucking who that Naruto was doing it instead and that Guy was doing shit instead, etc. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if Rock Lee was Guy and Guy was Rock Lee, let's say, like, it's reverse. You know what I mean? You wouldn't be saying this, right? You know, he wouldn't even be making this video then. Like, that's the issue. Like, he needs to, like, understand it in that regard. Like, we already know what Rock Lee would have been capable or been able to fucking do at the end of the day, right? You know? We have Guy for that reason. We have Naruto for that reason. He even said it himself. Naruto is very similar in many ways, you know? So again, I don't really see the problem.
Achieve that. Not really. Think about it. Naruto goes on to defeat Neji. Obvious. It's a step in the right direction for Naruto, proving that hard work can overcome anything. But Rock Lee loses to Gaara, which was a battle with the same exact underlying tones as Neji versus Naruto. Gaara was absolutely born with natural genius. His mother and...
But Rock Lee did it as well. The only difference is the fight was stopped while Naruto wasn't. And again, I'm not going to repeat myself. He has all the feats that I already discussed and so on and so forth that Naruto and Sasuke would have never been able to do. And that's important because Sasuke beat Gaara. You know what I mean? Like, and so on and so forth. Like, I don't think he understands the concept of matchups. You know what I mean? And counter matchups, etc. Like Kasame and Guy, and or Minato and Obito, etc. Right? You know what I mean? Like someone could just blatantly be a hard counter, and that's it. Like has nothing to do with the concept of whether or not if they can accomplish the feat of hard work surpasses talent, right? And so on and so forth. Like I don't think he understands that, and he's also disregarding to where not only is it stated several times, and Gaara had to use a sand substitution. Okay, Lee would have defeated Gaara with the first gate alone, with the fucking primary lotus. That's how much AP he had. It would have literally surpassed his sand armor. Okay, Gaara had to get out of it. If Gaara got hit by it, he would have lost. So again, like Lee had the capability to beat Gaara. Lee had it was just unfortunately there were certain context, right? Because we're just disregarding context. There were certain variables that unfortunately did not allow it to get to that point. Why was Gaara not defeated with the first gate right there and then? Why? Was it because of speed? Rock Lee was way faster. He speed blitzed him, right? And the speed blitzing him multiple fucking times, it reminds you, okay? It was because Gaara was a fucking fat ass and weighed a ridiculous amount of weight with the fucking gore and the sand armor. It's all stated and explained. He was ridiculously heavy. So he didn't float in the air and go all the way up when Lee initially did what he did. I mean, if Rock Lee literally went to the third gate and kicked him, he would have been strong enough to kick him in the air like as he normally does at the first gate and could have sent him straight down and would have won the fight right there and then. The problem with Lee, what Lee's actual downfall is, what he really lacks of whatever, is his combat intellect, his IQ intelligence. Like when it comes to his combat intelligence, it's not that great. Rock Lee in weightless could have used a fucking paper bomb and defeated Gaara if he wanted to. Rock Lee's just not smart. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem. Naruto's just smarter. Sasuke's smart. Like, that's the issue. He has the power. He has the ability to defeat the geniuses. He's just not smart. That is Rock Lee's downfall and his biggest issue. You know what I mean? Like, bro, a fucking kunai bomb was able to surpass V2 Gaara, his second strongest transformation with Shikaku. That's obviously over his base durability. You know what I mean? And then his V1 durability, right? Like, One Tail, remind you. He was in his One Tail form, but completely. It was like his V2 transformation, basically. So, like, again, like that's really all the issue was. You know what I mean? Like, and so what I'm getting at is that basically directly refutes and debunks what he's getting at with the whole point of, oh, Rock Lee lost to Gaara. Like, okay, all because he lost doesn't mean shit. He still had the power and the capabilities and the talent, etc., whatever, to defeat Gaara, but unfortunately he just didn't go about it the right way. That was the issue. That's all it was. You know what I mean? If Rock Lee went to 5 gates right off the fucking whip, or to the 4th gate, remind you, okay, and just shot Gaara straight fucking down on his head, like doing the little twist spin, again, Gaara would have been defeated. You know what I mean? Like, if Rock Lee, instead of kicking him straight down on his back to where Gaara can use the gore as a sand shield to protect him and survive the AP, you know what I mean, with the laws of physics and shit, if he didn't do that and instead just did it on his fucking neck or his head, or just shot him straight down on his head, Gaara would have been defeated, potentially even killed. You know, like, again, like, so like, this doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't agree with this. And even Guy alone himself, when Rock Lee was with the 3rd gate alone, stated, this is the technique that can defeat Neji. And he's the sensei for his students. He knows what his students are capable of, their limitations, etc., you name it, you know? So, like, it's very, very straightforward. Rock Lee is goated, bro. He's fucking goated, you know? So, like, I don't... what he's saying just doesn't make sense. Again, bro, like, this shit is ass. It's NCHAMMER, it's ass. Ass. You hear that? We're fussing the shit that you're saying, okay? Ass, this video.
His mother's soul inhabits the sand that he carries around with him, giving him a perfect and impenetrable defense. Not to mention he's the Jinchuriki of Shukaku, has absolutely insane chakra reserves, and is borderline invincible.
And that's another thing I forgot to say. If Rock Lee had a Rising On or fucking Chidori, Gaara would have been dead. Weightless, he could do it, and Speed Blitz him dead. Rising On or Chidori. You know what I mean? Like, that's another thing he also forgets. Rock Lee is severely handicapped. Him not being able to do ninjutsu, that's a big fucking deal. He literally could just only do Super Saiyan, basically, and just continue to amplify his physical stats, right? So, like, again, like, there's that to put into consideration, too. So, like, it's just, he's completely disregarding the concept of matchups, counter, mechanisms, and so on and so forth, etc. And again, context as a whole.
To a Genin or Chunin. And how did he achieve this? Well, he was born with it. Now, obviously, Gaara has been through a lot, but was that physical, grueling workouts, running around Konoha 300 times to strengthen your legs? No, that's what Rock Lee did. Just like with Naruto and Neji, the battle between Rock Lee and Gaara was a battle between genius and hard work. And the same conversations revolved around Rock Lee and Gaara's fight as they did with Neji and Naruto's, with people speculating that Rock Lee would stand no chance against Gaara, except for the people that actually knew Rock Lee. But even though the themes are exactly the same between Naruto and Neji and Gaara and Rock Lee, the outcomes are very different. Obviously, in the battle of Naruto,
yeah, you want to know why they're different? Because Naruto can do ninjutsu. He's able to do a shadow clone, okay, and trick people and use his intelligence. Naruto could use a fucking Rasengan, etc., you name it, whatever. Or, better yet, has a Nine Tails that can literally heal and rejuvenate his stats, okay? If Lee had the same fucking conditions, if he could have done a shadow clone, if he could have done, like a Rasengan, whatever, or AKA had the fucking Nine Tails, he would have also defeated Gaara. Like, imagine Lee doing the Nine Tails with the gates. You know what I mean? Like, but again, like, it's all about context and variables, etc. The whole nine. Like, that's what he's disregarding. And again, Lee had the capability to defeat Gaara. Unfortunately, he just didn't strategize correctly. He was fucking stupid. That was his problem. He's a dumbass, okay?
Versus Neji, hard work overcomes. But in the battle between Rock Lee and Gaara, genius overcomes. Now, was Rock Lee technically fighting a way harder fight than Naruto? Absolutely. And did Rock Lee display that through the power of hard work, he was able to fight on almost par with Gaara? Also, yes. But thematically, if we're trying to push through the concept that hard work will always...
Almost on par? What the fuck are you talking about? He was bullying Gaara's shit. Gaara couldn't do shit! Motherfucker was getting blitzed over and over and over. He only survived because of him having durability. Being a fucking tank. You know what I mean? And then also being the Sand Shikaku. You know what I mean? Like having ridiculous chakra reserves, stamina, the whole nine. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about here, bro? Like, it was not a on par fight. Nah, it was on par when they waited, right? They're like, going at it over and over. But the moment he took off the weights, Gaara could not fuck with this man. If it wasn't for him being a tank, he would have lost and died immediately. You know what I mean? And when Lee goes to Gates, bro, like, he was completely far surpassing Gaara. You know what I mean? In all shapes and forms. The problem, okay, again, was certain variables in context, aka his combat IQ, right? And most importantly, him not even having ninjutsu and only being able to do taijutsu. So,
overcome genius. Why have it not? Now listen, I can hear what you're saying. You're saying,
Nick, but Gaara needed to win. He needed to move forward for plot necessity.
To which I say, did he? Obviously, I get everybody wants Gaara versus Sasuke. But if you want Gaara versus Sasuke, give yourself Gaara versus Sasuke. Just don't have Gaara battle against Rock Lee. And more importantly than anything, and I understand that you're trying to make Gaara a convincing villain, and obviously him hurting Rock Lee.
If Sasuke went against Gaara in the preliminary, he would have got fucking bodied. The same Lee that fought Gaara waited, remind you, bullied him. Imagine the Sand would be blitzing Sasuke over and over. Like, even if it was a prime Sasuke, right? Like, not even nerf, not no curse mark, handicap, none of that shit, right? Let's say he's just full power, good to go. The one that fights Rock Lee, right? He'd have been getting blitzed by the Sand over and over. Again, this doesn't, like, engage what you're advocating against.
He was very convincing, but don't have him defeat Rock Lee handedly.
Like Sasuke had to get a whole fucking month of time to train, get faster, etc., whatever, and then get taught fucking Chidori. Like, to be Gaara, bro. Like, I don't want to hear it.
And obviously, Rock Lee was able to land a couple of blows on Gaara, but when Gaara got serious, it was all but over. Or honestly, replace Sasuke with Rock Lee. Or just replace Sasuke with Rock Lee, and therefore, instead of having Rock Lee lose...
Yeah, if that happened, Sasuke would have lost. Just like...
you could just have Gaara freak out mid-fight. And considering how hard Rock Lee was hitting Gaara, it's kind of a surprise that he didn't freak out during their fight. I mean, obviously he freaked out at the sight of his own blood, which Rock Lee wasn't able to draw from him, but if hypothetically you replace Sasuke with Rock Lee, you wouldn't be flying in the face of the hard work versus genius theme that you're trying to build up here. Because on one...
And Gaara was freaking out. He was literally like freaking out, scared, talking in his head, and saying like, is his move, like, is he even human? You know, like, his movements are inhuman. Like, this guy is like insanely powerful. He was freaking out. Like, and even throughout the entirety of the fight, the fucking Shikaku was coming out of him because of how strong Lee was, and Kankuro was getting worried and freaking out because of how, like, you know, erratic Gaara was getting, and so on and so forth. So again, I don't know what he's talking about. Gaara was definitely freaking out, and especially at the end of the fight. Now, obviously, if we're saying to the same extreme as what's not, no, what the fuck is blood? It's a whole other fucking extreme, you know, like.
And while Naruto is achieving it, Rock Lee isn't. So does hard work only work for a couple of people? Why have two characters so similar in archetype achieve different things? But even if you want to say Rock Lee getting injured by Gaara is important for his growth because it introduces Tsunade and he gets to bounce back and fight against Kimimaro, him fighting against Kimimaro is another fantastic example of him being wasted. See, if hypothetically Rock Lee had lost the...
Bro, writing in context. Like, what do you mean? He just came out of surgery, bro. Like, you know what I mean? And he's still being badass and doing insane feats. Like, what are you talking? Like, bro, please just actually reread or go through and look at the scaling and see how fucking amazing Rock Lee is. Like, what is he on about? Like, I don't get it, bro. I really don't get it. Like, Kishimoto literally put Rock Lee against counter fucking opponents. The worst motherfuckers he could possibly go against. Yet he's still doing the impossible. And like blitzing or performing better than QB Naruto and all this shit, bro. Like, he's still doing insane feats. Like, I don't know what we're on about here. I mean, like, it's not like Rock Lee's fault that Kishimoto decides to put him against two tank characters. You know, like, you can't put him down for that, bro. Like, I don't know what to like. That's like putting Kasame down for going against Guy, who is his counter, you know, or his kryptonite. I mean, like, you can't put him down. The guy beat fucking Killer Bee. That's insane. You know what I mean? Like, so again, like, context matters. Counter matchups, etc., abilities, the whole everything, bro. Like, if he was to really analyze and comprehend it out of that angle and so on and so on, and you name it, he would realize that Rock Lee is an incredible character, and he's an amazing side character, and he's not the biggest failure. Like,
Gaara, but had one against Kimimaro, I would have no complaints. See, Rock Lee bouncing back from injury after undergoing a life-threatening surgery to battle the strongest of the Sound Village 4 and come out victorious would have been one of the greatest storylines in all of Naruto. But that's...
And that's another thing that we're also forgetting here. Like, Drunken Fist was insane. It was fucking... Bro, it was hilarious and insane. He went crazy with Drunken Fist. He was giving Bowman the fucking hands and had to force him to use CM1 partial curse mark. You know what I mean? And Kimimaro says, like, multiple times, like, I can't keep up with him. He's just, you know what I mean? Like, that Taijutsu is something else. You know, I can't read his movements, etc. Like, bro. Like, come on, bro. Come on.
The ability to extend his bones.
I love how he says that. You know, I love how he says that. And, again, that's really good. This motherfucker is always having to fight the strongest motherfuckers. That alone is a testament to Rock Lee's power and strength. He's not fighting any other weaklings or any other villain. He's fighting the strongest ones. Gaara right off the whip. The strongest fucking getting from the sand, right? You know, Kimimaro, the strongest of the sound people. Like, that alone is a testament to how strong Rock Lee is. Even Kimimaro, the moment Rock Lee appears and is able to speed blitz him when he first appears with Taijutsu, Kimimaro is like, wow, this guy, like, he's stronger than the others. A.K.A. QB Naruto, fucking, you know what I mean, Shikamaru, etc., etc. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was always emphasized as being the GOAT, bro. Like, NCHAMMER, his problem is he's very tunnel vision. You know what I mean? Like, he's very just focused on the element that, oh, he just lost. You know what I mean? So therefore he sucks. Like, no, bro. It's bigger than that. You know what I mean? Like, again, you're a content creator, bro. You one of the biggest Naruto content creators out there. Like, really think. Like...
from his body. This child is so unique and so powerful that a fight. The one battle he was going to win against Sasuke was interrupted. And even if you go even earlier in the Chunin exams, like in the Forest of Death, once again, Rock Lee loses.
So if he's talking about like as a whole, then that's not true. There's many fights he wins, and technically he also beats Sasuke. So even with the main story, he does win a fight. That's not true either. And not only that, he also beat Kimamaru's base form. Okay, he wasn't able to beat Kimamaru with the curse mark, but he was able to beat Kimamaru's base. Okay, so that's not true. For main story, that's not true. And even as a whole, if we're counting movies and filler, that is definitely not true. So again, like there's that. And I'm not going to prove myself as, like, for all the other things you've said. I've already, like, advocated and explained and argued against all that as a whole. Like, again, he's just being very tunnel vision on this. So, but yeah, that's all he is. So.
See, Rock Lee obviously steps in to save Sakura against
the and he also beat the Sound 4. Like, he would have defeated Dozu. You know what I mean? Like, so, again, like, no.
Sound Village Ninja. And while in this battle, he does get a couple of good licks in against the Sound Village Ninja, he loses. He's about to drive one of them into the ground with a reverse lotus. Or primary lotus. I don't think you can use the reverse lotus until you've opened, like, the 4th gate or something. Regardless, he's about to drill somebody's head into the ground and...
Again, that's not correct, and it's very concerning coming from the guy that's one of the biggest Naruto content creators out there. Again, you would think he would just know very common knowledge or just definitive things in Naruto. You need the 3rd gate.
Hard. However, as he's about to drill one of these kids into the ground like a Phillips head, the ground is softened by another one of the Geni. And it's at this point that Rock Lee is taken out of the equation, after having really not changed anything outside of giving Sakura a moment to breathe. And then even with the minute the Sakura has gotten...
And we had the context in the statement too. You've already explained why Rock Lee lost. Again, for one, because of his combat IQ, and then 2, because he was literally distracted from Sakura. 1010 literally says verbatim, if he wasn't distracted and he was focused, he could have been able to defeat those ninja.
To breathe, she really doesn't drum up much. She's able to tank a couple of kunai and stab one of them in the arm, but it's not until Sasuke wakes up from his little nap and uses the curse mark for the first time that any of these Sound Village ninja get taken care of, which is Sasuke tapping into a power he just got and did nothing for. While Rock Lee, who trains every single...
Yeah, so NCHAMMER, again, which you continue to disregard, if Rock Lee did all his gates, if he went straight to fucking 3rd gate, or even 4th or 5th, he would have did the same thing that Curse Mark Sasuke did. They would have been shitting their pants. He would have been... But it would have been even worse. He'd have been, like, completely destroying them. It would have been a billion times even better than what Sasuke did. Because when Sasuke was in the curse mark, Zaku was still even relative to him. You know, so like, again, like, your point just doesn't follow. Like, boo fucking who that he's not getting the W verdicts. Boo hoo. Again, context. You disregard context.
Day, 14 hours a day, couldn't beat one of them. Sasuke is just ripping their arms off. Even Shino was able to come out victorious against Zaku, the Sound Village ninja with the air vents in his hands, the one who saw...
Yeah, because Shino had a 1v1 and no distractions, and he's in a preliminary. Sasuke gets, like what you just fucking said, a fucking amp from Orochimaru, the curse mark. Didn't have to work for it or nothing, and there you go, with no drawbacks, remind you. Like, I don't think he, like, pays attention to what he's at. Like, he's talking about, she's trying to compare things when they're false equivalences and just completely disregards context. Shino does it because he's in a 1v1 and no distractions. Rock Lee, if he had no distractions, it was in a 1v1 with Zaku, Dozu, any of them, he would have shitted on them. Weighted, remind you. Not even weightless, like, he wouldn't even need weightless or any of that. Weighted. And if Lee took off his weights and went weightless, he could have destroyed all of them as well. Like, again, there's context. The statement is there. It explains why he lost in the first place, etc., etc. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like NCHAMMER, he's mainly just a lore dude. Like, he cannot scale Naruto, and he cannot debate Naruto or even, like, comprehend it logically. Like, I don't get it, bro.
And Chino's backstory is substantially less interesting than Rock Lee's. Now listen, I fully understand that we can't have Rock Lee a side character clearing the top obstacles of Naruto. The only people allowed to do that are Sasuke or Naruto. But if one of the key themes of your show is hard work can overcome anything, why would you introduce a character who is the full living embodiment of that sentimentality?
He literally does it. He does it.
And then never have them achieve what they're trying to do. Now, once again, I can hear you guys saying,
But Nick, Rock Lee became super strong.
and like, sort of, I guess. But think about why Rock Lee got strong. Now, mind you, Rock Lee's strength, honestly, still kind of up in the air. Literally, all of his feats, non-canon. The battle against Shira, the 7 heavenly breaths guy, non-canon. Beating the shadow clone of Naruto that manifested a 4 tails cloak with Might Guy, not canon. Rock Lee didn't even get any fights against Edo Tensei Shinobi in the 4th.
So that's debatable. We already talked about it. I'm not going to repeat myself, but that's debatable. But I don't think it's non-canon. So.
4th Great Shinobi World's War. The only legitimately slightly impressive feat we have from Rock Lee that is canon happened in the last, when he and the Suicide Corps, who are a bunch of people he trained to use the 8th gates, kick a meteor in half. But to give the entirety of that credit to Rock Lee when there's like 6 other dudes in the 7th gate kicking the meteor with him, it's kind of a stretch. Ironically, Rock Lee's greatest feat.
It's definitely not 7th gate. They were using the 5th or 6th gate because it was green aura, not blue. But okay. And then not only that, if Rock Lee was to use the 7th gate, or better yet, the 8th gate, I don't know if what he's actually really capable in Boruto. I would have to go over all that. But if he did the 7th or 8th gate, he's definitely destroying that meteor, either the same component of it or the full amount of it, without help. So that doesn't really follow through either.
Are his failures. Almost beating Gaara, almost beating Kimimaru, holding his own against the Sound Village Ninja for a couple of minutes. That's it. But even if you do want to say that Rock Lee is strong, even though I believe people who say that Rock Lee is strong are conflating his strength with Might Guy's, think about the reason that Rock Lee got strong in the first place: to protect those close to it. It's built into the credo of using the 8th gates. You're only ever able to use it if you're protecting somebody near and dear to you. And he does.
Well, again, no, you're wrong. I already said it. I'm not going to repeat myself, but we know what Rock Lee's true purpose was to become a ninja, etc. The 8th gate is the only thing that is for the forbidden rule of why you use it, whatever, which, yes, that is to protect the people you love, okay? So, with the weights, it was to protect somebody. That's the only time you can take the weights off, okay? You know what I mean? And so on and so forth. And to protect your ninja way. The same thing with using the first gate, you know what I mean? To defend your ninja way. Okay, and along with the other gate, with using the gates, that's just to protect his ninja way and to just show that he could be strong and powerful. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, inherently, for Rock Lee's true purpose as a ninja and so on and so forth, no, it's not that.
Doesn't even achieve that. Who are the 3 people closest to Rock Lee? Might Guy, Tenten, Neji. His team. Now, Tenten never needed protection. You don't need protection if you don't show up. Can't be killed if you're not on screen. But Might Guy and Neji needed protection. Might Guy went toe-to-toe with Madara, opened the 8th gate. Now, one could argue that Might Guy did this to protect Rock Lee and all of the other shinobi, and he absolutely did. But after seeing the valiant sacrifice of his sensei, why didn't he step up? As Madara was regenerating half of him that Might Guy had kicked off with Night Guy, why didn't Rock Lee step up? Why didn't Rock Lee see that Might Guy was giving it his all and decide to open the 8th gate as well and die by the side of the person that he loved most? And don't even get me started on Neji. Rock Lee.
It's because he didn't have the 8th gate or the 7th gate and could only go to the 6th gate. It stated verbatim what his limits were, and his 6 gates was not 6 pass level or Jubi Madara or 8th gate level, okay? You know what I mean? That's why, and even when Madara was that injured and fucked up, Naruto with a 6 pass amp was pressing that Madara, and Madara could still fight back, so if Lee did anything, he would have just been killed for no fucking reason. Again, context, again, scaling, statements, etc. Like, but again, let's just continue to disregard all of that.
Was nowhere around to save Neji from the sticks. In fact, Neji was doing a better job of protecting those around him than Rock Lee. And now all of this strength that Rock Lee has built up over the last couple of years that was supposed to protect those close to him isn't. As Neji, the antithesis of hard work, the natural born genius, is actually embodying the idea of protecting those around him better. Even in Boruto, Rock Lee has been thrown away as a character. Sure, he shows up occasionally in anime canon.
I agree. Boruto, it's a fucking shit show. It's a fucking shit show. I agree with that. The only W verdict he has had so far. Blatantly correct as well. Boruto is ass. It's bad. It's fucking bad. He should have at least went 8th gate against fucking Ishiki.
Episodes, but in the manga, he might as well not even exist. Which is ironic because in this new era where we're fighting against Otsutsuki with karma markings or Rinnegan's in their palm that are able to nullify things like Genjutsu and Ninjutsu, the importance of Taijutsu has skyrocketed. Ishiki invaded Konoha and left almost the
I agree. Yeah, no, Boruto it's really fucking bad. It's very bad. It's really shit. And when, like he said, when Taijutsu is like at its absolute importance of peak and to really be utilized, etc., the whole nine, it was even emphasized with the fucking with Momoshiki, right? You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. Like, abso-fucking-lutely. Yet they never even brought Rock Lee. You know what I mean? Like, even though that was going to be Momoshiki's biggest weakness was taijutsu and shit like that. You know, like, so, again, like, you know, this right here, he's spitting facts.
Entirety of the Konoha 13 in the dust, when in actuality, with just the powers of the 8th gate, Rock Lee would have been a good battle against Ishiki. But Rock Lee's role in trying to repel Ishiki is so inconsequential, we don't even see the Konoha 13 struggle against it. Now, if the entirety of the Konoha 13 was thrown away like this, I guess I would have nothing to complain about. But other characters who got kind of ignored in Naruto took huge steps forward in Boruto, like Ino in Sai. And some will take the argument that Rock Lee's story of a zero becoming a hero was replaced by Might Guy's, but even that doesn't really play. See, Might Guy's strength is actually concrete. We've seen feasible feats from him. He had his numerous battles against Kisame. He had his 8th gate moment against Madara. Might Guy has shined when it mattered. And Might Guy symbolizes all of the things that Rock Lee...
because again, it's called convenience of writing at certain points in times. Again, because Guy was put against someone that was literally his kryptonite. He was a counter matchup for Kasame. The worst matchup Kasame could possibly have. A taijutsu specialist. Like, again, convenience of writing, etc., the whole nine. You know what I mean? Like, and again, because he actually had the capability to use the 8th gate. You know what I mean? Like, etc., etc. Like, whatever, bro.
He symbolizes. But a lot of Might Guy's feats are also slightly tinged with a little asterisk. See, the first time that Might Guy and Kisame battle, it ends as a draw. The second time they battle, Might Guy wins by opening the 7th gate, but it's revealed that that was only a 30% kind of clone of Kisame. And the third time, Might Guy does technically win. However, he
doesn't do 7th gate against fucking... He does 6th gate against fucking Kasame at 30%. And then when he fights Kasame at the other point of time, then he does the 7th gate and shits on him.
Battling against Kisame without Samehara, and Kisame kills himself. And while obviously Madara acknowledges Might Guy is the strongest taijutsu user he's ever come across, Might Guy loses. And like, pretty badly. And what's wild is if Madara was the last and final bad guy, Might Guy losing against him makes sense. Might Guy, a side character, shouldn't defeat the main baddie. That's gotta be the main character. Annoying. But Madara wasn't the final baddie. So there's really no reason that Might Guy shouldn't have been able to defeat him. See, Might Guy could have very easily defeated Madara, and then Black Zetsu could have...
There's all the reason in the fucking world, because Might Guy is only a taijutsu specialist, so he has limitations, and number 2, he's a side character. Number 3, okay, there's been consistency with who you've been talking about this whole time, Rock Lee, where it's the same exact scenarios. They come really, really close and are almost there, but they can't do it, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's the same shit. We all just happened. We just got the same fucking thing, but it was with Guy instead this time. Like, again, that's not a bad thing, though. Guy still has respect to his name, and he's a fucking badass. The only guy that was capable of being 6 past level of power. So again, like, I don't understand the problem. Like, it's just his perception of it. That's what's fucking skewed.
Slithered over and used Madara's dying body to bring Kaguya to life, which would have been substantially better than Black Zetsu just punching a hole in him and just being like, you're dead now. But instead, once again, hard work failed. And this is even worse when you think about the fact that Naruto, by this point in time, was no longer the symbol of hard work. Sure, obviously Naruto had done a lot of work over the course of Naruto and Shippuden to get as strong as he was. But by this point, Hagoromo had already told Naruto and Sasuke that they were reincarnations of gods.
No, it's all contradicted. All that's contradicted. It's stated verbatim. To the contrary, that's not true either, etc. And Naruto did work his ass off to get fucking KCM 1 and then to get KCM 2 to befriend the fucking Nine Tails, which is like considered to be absolutely impossible because he's literally the incarnate of fucking hatred itself, etc. And the evil half, remind you, okay? The list goes on and on and on. Naruto did the impossible multiple fucking times and worked his ass off to accomplish it and got the power he deserved, which incorporates to the embodiment of fucking hard work, aka that, right? So I don't want to fucking hear that. That's not true. Naruto was definitely hard work, and throughout the entirety of his show, he's literally the embodiment of hard work itself to accomplish the impossibles or to beat all the big boys and so on and so whatever you name it. He's always fucking it. Naruto is literally the embodiment of hard work throughout the entirety of the fucking show. He earned everything he got because of who he was. Nobody else was able to fucking befriend the Nine Tails and do everything Naruto did and so on and so forth. Nobody else was able to fucking master Sage Mode and do all that, what he did in the War Arc, etc., whatever. And even combine it and incorporate with the fusion of KCM 2 and so on and so forth. Nobody else learned the fucking Rising Dawn. You know what I mean? Like, stop it.
And given them both insane power-ups. Power-ups they did nothing for. And yet, the only people who can save the world are these two people who just got some of the strongest abilities in the show.
The power-up is the only actual understandable point that he's saying. That's the second time he's been correct out of everything he said in this video. That is the only, like, what the fuck moment. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you know, yada, 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 right? You know, but again, he's the main fucking character. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. And that's the main, like, you know, guy that's against the main character, right? You know, like, who cares, bro? It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't fucking care. So, it is what it is. But again, for this video, we'll just do it for the millionth time because this shit was really fucking ass. Okay? Fucking ass. Fucking ass.
Drop to them. While the characters who circle.
Okay, I'm done. And we're disliking the video because I'm sorry it was fucking ass. And at the end of the day, that's basically what you work with. Obviously, you guys already know the answer. Fucking trash, not pass. And that's basically it for this fucking NCHAMMER video. I'm out. Peace.